Ran is gonna do a tutorial for the DevTips channel. Ran looks in co-op. Look at this picture. What's up, everybody? I'll do the big hand. What's up, everybody? This is Travis, and this is Ran from Flux Vlog on YouTube. Now, Ran has a vlog, and he's a designer, and he gets a lot of questions like, how do I design this? How do I code this? And he uses WebFlow a lot, but he doesn't do a lot of tutorials. And he said, why don't you do a tutorial for your channel? I'm like, I would love for you to make videos for my channel. That'd be great. So what we're gonna do right now, Ran's gonna run through his flow on taking his designs from visuals to actual working web components using WebFlow, right?
Right.
All right, let's get started.
So I found this cool design over at Dribbble, and I'm going to try to develop it using WebFlow, but without writing any of the code, but I'm going to have it all developed with all the code, with all the CSS, with all the interactions. So to start off, I have a new project here on WebFlow, which doesn't have anything on it, but as you can see, the background is a body element, and over here I can see what elements I have. Currently I only have the body. So I'm going to give it a background just to kind of have a similar background to what we have in this file. So this one is gray. I'm going to take the color here from Photoshop, and I'm going to create a new style. I'm going to call it body, and the only thing I'm going to do here is going to give it a background color of this color. So now we have a light gray background, and now I want to position this element right in the center of the screen. So I'm going to create a wrapper. So even though I don't have to write code, I still need to understand the logic of how HTML and CSS works. So I'm going to create here a wrapper element, and I'll set the body to 100%. And I'll also set the wrapper to 100% and 100%. And in this wrapper, I'm going to put a div, which will be this kind of a window that we have. I'm going to call it a window. And let's see in Photoshop how big it is. So I'm going to kind of roughly measure it. It's around 630 wide on 400. So I'm going to define it as 630 on 400. And because I want to position it right in the center, I'm going to give the wrapper here display of flex with centered. So now we have the window here. I'm going to give the window a white background so you can see it. We have this window here right centered at the screen. Now we have also a round corner here and a little bit of shadow, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it, let's see, 3, maybe 5 pixels of corner radius. That looks nice. I'm going to also give it a box shadow. I'm going to do that black, and I'm going to blur it a little bit and take the opacity down a little bit. So now that we have this window, and just to show you off where we're heading, when I want to export this, I'm going to have all the HTML here and all the CSS ready, and I didn't really have to code this. I could just play around, and I can just export this so I can upload it or keep the backend development, whatever I want. Let's see, if I want to split this into half, I can do that in 2 ways, but let's do that by just putting 2 divs inside that window, and also give this window display setting of flex with put them both on side to side, and let's see, how do I do that? Okay, I'm going to call them flex child, both of them. Flex child. Perhaps I'm building this wrong, but I'm not a super developer, so I'm not sure about that. I'm just going to give both of them 50% wide. Yeah, that turned out to work pretty fine.
This is actually really interesting.
Okay, so this one, this is the background image. So this one I'm gonna give it another style, and let's call that image. And I'm gonna give it a background image of I'm gonna upload an image. Let's see, of just the car that I've found here. And for it to look nice, I'm gonna give it a property of cover, and I'm gonna center it. Or you know what? It looked better like this. And I want it to be darkened a little bit, so I'm gonna give it a color overlay. Yeah, that looks much better. All right.
What's the color overlay?
Yeah, it's
how
just
do they
another.
Do that? What is?
How do they do that?
Yeah, like what does it mean in the code?
Let's see.
Image.
They just gave it. How do they do that? I don't know. We can export the code and check it later because this is, you see, this is just a snippet of the CSS, so maybe we're not seeing everything, but we can do that for the later.
That's interesting.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna throw a logo here, the Red Bull logo over this image. I can also define it as a high DPI. That means that will kind of double down the size for it to look good on Retina, but it's too big anyway, so I can just say, let's see how that looks in 200. Yeah, maybe even 170. All right, now that looks good. And what other elements do we have here? So we have the logo. Actually, it's much smaller. It's around 120, the logo. So let me resize that to 120. And then we have a button, right? So I'm gonna drop in a button. And for them to be centered the way that I'm seeing them here, I'm just gonna give the flex child image a display setting of flex. I'm gonna do them this way, and this way. But bam! And it's done. All right, I want to give this logo here a little bit of margin. So I'm gonna give it call it Red Bull logo. Gonna give it a margin, and let's see how the button is styled. So it says create an account. So let's write that, create an account. It doesn't have a background. Let's call that button. But it does have a blurry effect, which I'm not sure. Can you do that with CSS, or it's just Photoshop?
You can do it with CSS, but it won't. It's not very well.
Okay, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna give it a background image of kind of almost white, transparency white.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I'm gonna do like lots of radius so that it would, yeah. And I'm gonna give it a stroke of 1 white pixel. That's how it looks, almost. Let's do the background black so it will kind of make it a bit more readable. Yeah. And I'm gonna give it a bit more padding on the right, so yeah, that looks nice. Now the nice thing about it is that I can already create the interaction here. I can change the state of the button to hover and then create how I want this to look when it's hover. So let's say that when it's hover, it's completely white, the background is white, and the text gets black, right? So I go back here. So now I have this simple, really simple hover interaction. But if I want to animate it, which I do, that's also super simple. I just go to the transition here. I'm saying it's 350 millisecond, and I'm not going to even bother to look for the property. I'm just going to say all properties. And then, check out this smooth animation. That's nice. All right, so that's done. Why are you laughing, Travis?
Because like, how long we've been doing this? Like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
This would have taken me like 30 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why I do that.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so let's see how we do that. First of all, let's give this a style of form. And kind of do the background. The background kind of has a gradient, right? So I'm going to copy the color here. And let's give this a gradient background. So I can choose here gradient. I'm going to drop here the color. Let's take the darker color now. right, and I do want it kind of in an angle. That's probably the right angle, like this.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. All right, so okay, how would we do that? Probably I would have to kind of put this one as an element, this one, and this one as an element. So the first one I don't really have to, yeah. Let's see what happens if I just drop a title. Like I would say I want this to be an H1, right? So I'm going to drop an H1 here. Sign up. All right, let's call it sign up. Sign up. Let's call this H1. Now fonts. We didn't talk about fonts. I have an okay selection of fonts here, but I can actually bring in any Google font, and I can actually also upload any font I want, so it's pretty nice. Sign up. Yeah, sign up. All right, so what I want to do is give it a bit more margin on top. I'm going to have to create the divider on the bottom, so it's not a fully white white pixel. I don't know. Let's just go with a random color here of white with not so strong opacity. That looks decent. I'm going to give it padding, and I'm going to give it a little bit of padding to the right. You know what? I also want to space the letters a little bit. I think that looks better. All right, but let's remember how much padding we gave. Let's do it like 25 so we can be consistent. All right, so the next thing that we want to bring in is a form, right? So to do that, I'm going to bring in a form. We have here a form element that I can also define how it behaves and everything. All right, let's see. So the first one is email, and the second one is password. So let's move them around because we have email on top, and this will be the password. So but the one more thing that we want to do is we want to bring in those images. How would we do that? Would you? Okay, I have to, I guess, put those two in an element, right? Inside a div or something like that. So I would put in a div block, which I'll call it like form element, form block. And we need two of them. So that's two of them, and I have to put the email, wait, form elements. Okay, I don't want, yeah. I want the form block to be inside the form wrapper so that Webflow will know this is a part of the form. Right? What I'm looking at right now is the structure of the page. So these are all the elements that we have in the page, kind of like the HTML structure.
This is the DOM.
Yeah, this is the DOM. I didn't even know that word exists. So yeah. So let's put this text field in the form block and the text field in the form block. And then where's the other form block? Right here. And then so I just nested them inside. All right. So now I can say that this form block, I need to edit an image into it, the icon, right? I can also drop it right here where I need it inside the structure. So here I have this kind of, let's say, a person icon. Let's make it really small. 16 maybe, no, maybe 25. 25 is okay, I guess. How would you do that? Let's call it icon. Should I just float it left? I'm not sure about those things, but I can float them left, and I can give it.
Go back to the Photoshop or the. So it's left of both the label and the input.
Yeah.
So the label and input should be in a wrap, and then this should be on the left of it.
Okay, so another div inside of it, right?
Mm.
I can actually also, if I give it text field, I can hack it, even though I know it's not probably the right way to build it.
Mm-hmm.
If I do this like 50, okay, see? That's a nasty hack. You shouldn't do that if you want to build proper websites.
What was the? I don't understand what the hack was.
The hack was this was a block element, and so it went all the way. But now I defined it as inline block, and I gave it width. So now when I gave padding here, like margins here, I kind of did it like this. All right, that doesn't look too bad. Wait, but no, something here doesn't work well because I want to push them. I want to push it. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. So let's see. The email address should be white, kind of whitish. Let's call this label, and say this is, let's do it uppercase. Actually, I can do that with style. Style uppercase. Nice. White with some kind of an opacity. Oh, no, sorry. White, color white, and opacity. Make it super small. Alright, that looks cool. In here, we need to make this kind of transparent. We don't even want to see the text fill, so text fill should have no background color, and text can be white if you type it in. And no, I don't want any borders. So when let's see that. Well, it works. I don't know why it's gray, but it does work. But it has inner padding, left padding here, which I don't want because I want this to align. So perhaps the text is white when you type it. Ah, yeah, you see. Yeah.
So what you're seeing is
the placeholder.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure if I can style it. Can you style it?
You can with CSS. Yeah. Let's see if your WebFlow can do it.
If my WebFlow can do that, you know what I would do? I would like Google that. I would like WebFlow style placeholder text form. Let's see what happens when you do that. Change form placeholder. Let's see. Their forms are actually, I always find the answer there. Might be the answer that you can. WebFlow doesn't support this in UI, but you can add this to the custom code. So the great thing here is that you can add custom code wherever you want. Either right here to the page, where I have a page setting, I can add it to the page, custom code in the head tag or the body tag. So if there are features which they didn't build yet, you can just...
It doesn't stop you.
It doesn't stop me. They're still too far. Because maybe this... Why is this so far away?
Your text field?
Yeah.
Your text field is just kind of big.
Yeah, I guess. But you know what? I can do that. That's nasty, right? You wouldn't do that. That's like illegal by...
It's not. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is pretty hacky, but like I do hacky things with code, so why not?
All right. So the last thing we need to do is to give this whole text form block that we call, give it a style. But I want this to be the same as this, so I'm just going to copy the line that I did here. I'm going to do that. Okay. Let's see if it's too far away. It's because this guy has lots of padding here. Oh no. So who else? This guy has padding.
And margin.
The nice thing is that you can visually see it, So that's really nice. Hell, I don't want to create that again. I'm just going to copy and paste.
How did you do that? Oh,
I deleted the block.
Okay.
Yeah, form block, copy it. Yeah. But
can't you just like apply the same classes to another element?
Yeah, I can, but that would take a lot of time. That would be much easier to just write here password.
And then new elements will have the same classes anyway. That's how they get the new style.
Yeah. You can just bring in another icon. And I think, if I'm not sure, but I think that this form element, yeah, I can define it as a password.
Yeah.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. Okay, we're almost there, I think. Let's see the original design. Okay, so we need a sign up button. What?
There's like space between them.
Space between them. You're right. We need to space between them. Let's take the form block. Let's give it trans. I have a problem. I made a mistake. The top line should probably be style not of the sign up form, but of the of the form block.
Mm-hmm.
So let's remove that. Let's add that right here to the top one. That created a lot of trouble, but now it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, should I copy this style to the bottom here? I called it button. Let's see what happens if I do that. If I give this button, submit. Let's change this to sign up. Sign up. And no, it doesn't look that good, but has a lot of properties. I think that I gave here too much padding. It has a lot of the properties, so it'll be just easier to add another style to it. So I'm just gonna say sign up button, and I'm just gonna push it a little bit. I'm gonna change the color here to white with an opacity, of course. That looks okay. What else do we have here? Forget password. So that's easy. That's just a link that I'll put here. I'm not going to connect it anywhere, but this is where I can link it outside or a different page at WebFlow or a different section of the page. Forgot my password. And then I'm going to call it inline link. Let's give it a little margin. Let's make it white. I don't want the underline. And of course, I can create, hover state. So, what do you want it to be when it's hover? Huh? Do you want to change color? Do you want an
just
underline?
put an underline. Yeah.
Underline. Okay, that's fine.
Thanks, Ran. Now I got my underline.
Now you got your underline and everything works. Oh, this doesn't look very good on hover. So let's give that a different hover. Let's do that black, for example. Okay, so give it a black background and a black and a white text. Let's do a yellow text. No, that doesn't look good. All right, let's do that white. Just wanted to do something with the Red Bull brand, but yeah, that looks nice.
Yeah.
That looks super nice. So basically we finished that, and if I wanted to, I could now make it responsive by just changing here how that looks. I can create different queries for different devices, and that would be super easy. I would just go to mobile, change the styling for it to be awesome, and then that will work. And when I want to export it, let's just export it to see how the code really looks, so we can really see if it's legit and how they created some stuff. So we have here So here's the code: HTML, CSS, image assets, and a little bit of JavaScript. Which one do you want to check out? The CSS, how they created it, or the?
Yeah. So
yeah, let's see.
So let me look at these documents here. We have devtips/webflow.css.
Yeah. So basically, that's a CSS right there
that you wrote. So
yeah.
What were the other things that came with it? Actually, let's look at this image. Here's where they did this right here, background image.
Yeah.
This is how they did that overlay.
Yeah.
They did a linear gradient over it.
Is that legit?
Well, yeah, because actually, background image. Yeah, so you might think that when you're placing that image, you're placing an actual image element, but you're not. You're placing a div with a background image.
No, this is actually the way I chose to do that.
Oh.
I put that.
Okay.
I put that.
So you knew that it was a background.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
cool.
how I defined it. The icons, I didn't do that way. But
okay.
in this case, I have defined it as a background image.
Oh, I didn't follow
Yeah.
that. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's why I was surprised. Like, how did they make an image? Like, did they just like reduce the opacity
No.
over black or something?
No, I defined it as a background image.
That makes a lot more sense.
Okay. So yeah, basically, let's do. I just want to show a little bit of. Let's do an interaction or an animation for this, just to make it.
Okay.
To explore the possibilities here. So I can, for example, let's take the whole window that we have here. I can reduce its opacity, for example, or I can just check this out. I can create interactions here. I'm going to create a new, I'm going to call it window appear. All right? An initial appearance, oh wait, I'm going to choose this window because I want it to be applied to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So apply this to it. And now, initial appearance. So I'm going to make an effect when the page loads, it's going to appear. So initial appearance, I'm going to make it, I'm going to move it a little bit. So I'm going to add a transform. I'm going to move it down a little bit. Right? And I'm going to scale it, let's say 50% on both ends. All right. And I'm going to reduce the opacity. Okay, so now he's going to ask me what trigger do I want, and this one I want it to be on load, but I can create some other interactions. So on load, I'm going to say that what I want it to happen, I want the opacity back to 100%, and I want the transform, because I'm not going to do anything, it's going to say move to origin, right? So, and I'm going to define how long this takes. So just to make this interesting, let's make it 1000, so it will take some time so that we can watch this. Let's preview this. That did not work as planned. Let's see what, okay, it did work as planned, right? It did not work as planned. So I don't know why sometimes it works and sometimes. Let's see what happens if we export this as a new page. It does not work. That sucks.
That's normal though. That's normal web development. You know, like, why doesn't this work?
Yeah. Let's do that again. Let's not do initial appearance.
Did you scale the after, or I don't know what you're calling it? There's initial and there's the other thing, right?
I'm going to remove the initial completely, but I'm just going to define this in the styling. I'm going to say I don't want this. I don't want any opacity. Let's just test this out. Okay, so now this works, right? It just gives it the opacity back. So let's select it and just do the transform here. Add this transform. Let's do not. Yeah, let's take it down a little bit and scale it to 0.7. 0.7. All right. So now let's preview it. Yeah, it does work. So now on page load, it does this small little animation. So that's nice, and that was pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, you can do much more complicated stuff. I just want to demonstrate that we're currently working using this tool to really create a whole product with it. So obviously, you can't publish the product like this, but this completely does the front end for us, so that we have this Prospero, the new tool that we're working on. So we can have here the whole tool, the whole interface with the buttons that we have and icons and all the interactions that we have. We can plan it right here, export the code, and then my developer can take it and just build, the back end, the interaction, what happens with the database and everything. But it does really make our workflow super, super fast.
All right, thanks Ran for that run through. That was a fast run through. It's interesting, as a person who codes a lot and someone who teaches code on YouTube, I'm sure I'm gonna get tons of comments down below oh no, my job is gone now. There's no future for me.
Look, I'm going to respond the way that I respond when when designers tell me that they're afraid to lose their job as web
afraid
designers.
to lose their job, right? That's the fear, right? You see something like this, and you think, how could this is going to take my job away?
But I think it's exactly the opposite. It's the other way around, right? We're living in a time where design and development are just blowing up, and we have more platforms, more opportunities. The technology is just growing, and somebody's always going to have to push the boundaries and do custom work and do thinking outside the box that no platform can do. So that's a nice, quick, quick way to do things. But you always have to know how things work and understand them, and kind of know how to do that yourself if you want to do something custom. And just the other day I was ranting about the fact that I don't really code deeply, that I can get some beautiful interactions done. So I don't think nobody is going to lose their job if they're always trying new things, pushing themselves and growing. Design and development, this is the gold age for us. So.
Yeah. In general, I look at it these things have a place, and usually their place is to follow innovation. So real designers, when I'm saying real, I mean good designers, good developers are going to pave new paths. They're going to invent new things. They're going to innovate. I hope you don't want to learn web design so that you can do what's already been done. I hope that's not your goal, because if it is, then yeah, you probably will lose your job. No, but these things follow. Do you understand what I'm saying? They follow innovation. They don't lead it. Right? And that's the important distinction that Ran is making here, is that if you can understand that they follow innovation, then you can actually use them as like a jetpack for you, so you can get way out ahead. It'll push you forward. This stuff is, I'm gonna look into this a little bit more. I've never used it before because I'm so busy thinking of new tutorials and things. I don't have time to look at this, but this has been an interesting kind of 30 minutes for me. Thank you for doing this and showing up.
That's good. That's good. It's really helpful for me, so I hope it'll be helpful for you and everybody else.
Yeah. So just a word about Ran. He has a YouTube channel here on YouTube, and it's called Flux, and he does daily weekday vlogs. And Ran is a designer here in Tel Aviv. He talks about all kinds of things, just from what it's like to live here, what it's like to be a professional designer, and also he dives deep into the ideas that propel creative people forward. So check that out, and we'll see you guys next Monday here on Dev Tips. You want to say keep on hacking?
Keep on hacking!
Yeah.